Soft desert wind moves over dry land. The sky is wide. The sun is hard and bright. In this hot, empty place, a boy grows up. His name is William Larkin Stiles. Later, people will call him Billy Stiles. Some will call him an outlaw. Some will call him a lawman. But right now, he is just a boy in the Arizona territory. He lives in a small, rough home near the open desert. There are no big cities here. No soft beds. No easy days. There is dust, sweat, and hard work. Billy's father is a tough man. Life has made him that way. He works with his hands. He expects his son to do the same. In this land, a boy becomes a man fast, or he does not live long at all. Billy watches the world with sharp eyes. He sees cowboys riding by, their hats low, their guns on their hips. He sees sheriffs and deputies pass through, badges shining on their chests. He hears stories in the saloon doorways, stories of train robberies, stories of posses chasing outlaws, stories of danger and glory. All of this goes into the boy's young mind. He does not know it yet, but one day he will live both sides of these stories. The days in Billy's home are not gentle. His father is quick to anger, and in this harsh land, anger often comes with a gun. Sometimes they argue. Maybe it is about work. Maybe it is about money. Maybe it is about a young boy who does not want to be treated like a child anymore. One day, the argument becomes bigger. Voices rise. Hands move. The air fills with heat that has nothing to do with the desert sun. Billy's heart pounds in his chest. His father's face is red, his voice hard. There is shouting. Perhaps there is a shove. Perhaps there is a threat. A gun appears. We do not know for sure who reaches first. History is not always clear. But we know this. A shot is fired. The sound cracks through the small house. It is loud, sharp, final. Billy's father falls. The room goes quiet. The boy stands there, his ears ringing, his chest tight, his hands shaking. In one moment, his life has changed forever. He is no longer just a son. He is something else now. He is a boy who has killed a man. Not just any man, his own father. Fear hits him like a wave. He sees the body on the ground. He sees the gun in his own hand. He knows what happens to killers in the West. They do not get second chances. They get rope and a tree. Billy does not wait. There is no time to think about right or wrong, no time to pray, no time to cry. He turns and runs. Outside, the desert waits. A horse stands tied nearby. He throws himself into the saddle with the speed of pure panic. His hands barely know what they are doing, but his body moves fast. He kicks hard. The horse jumps forward, dust rises behind him as he rides away from his home. His past and his father's still body on the floor. No one calls his name. No one tells him to stop. Only the wind answers, whistling in his ears as he rides into the open land. That is the moment Billy Stiles is truly born, not as a child, but as a runaway with a dark secret on his back. Days turn into nights. Nights turn back into days. He rides until his legs ache and his eyes sting from the sun and dust. He does not have a plan. He only has one idea in his mind. Do not get caught. The desert is cruel. But Billy is young and strong. He finds water where he can. He eats what he finds or what people will give him. Sometimes he works for a meal. Sometimes he sleeps under the stars. He learns to listen to the land. He learns the sound of far-off hoofbeats. He learns how to tell if someone is following him by the shape of prints in the dirt dot. Slowly, the scared boy begins to change. His fear hardens into something else. A cold, quiet strength. He becomes a drifter. He works on ranches, helps with cattle, rides fence lines that never seem to end. He keeps his past locked inside. No one knows the full story. No one knows about that day in the house. The gunshot, the body on the floor. Out here, he is just another young cowboy with sharp eyes and quick hands. Years pass. The world keeps moving. Towns grow. Railroads stretch across the desert like iron snakes. Billy moves with them. He works where he can, for whoever will pay. But there is something different about him that other men can feel. He is quiet, but not weak. He watches people carefully. He studies their faces, their voices, the way they move when they are lying, and the way They move when they are scared. He learns how to follow a trail through rock and sand. He learns how to read tracks like other men read a newspaper. He learns how to shoot with calm hands, even when his heart is not calm, without knowing it. Billy Stiles is training for two lives at once, the life of a lawman and the life of an outlaw. In the Wild West, those two paths are very close together. One small choice can push a man from one side to the other. One day, that choice will come. One day, a badge will be pinned to his chest, and behind that badge, a storm will be waiting. But for now, part one of his story ends here. A boy who rode away from his past, a young drifter learning the land, a future outlaw and lawman still hiding inside the same man. Years pass. The boy who rode away from his father's house is no longer a boy. Now he is a young man. His shoulders are stronger. His eyes are harder. The desert has shaped him. Billy Stiles has worked on many ranches. He has moved from town to town. He has slept in barns, under wagons, and under cold, clear stars. He does not talk much about his past. When people ask where he is from, he gives short answers. He keeps his secret like he keeps his gun, close and always ready. Over time, people start to notice something about Billy. He rides well. He shoots well. But that is not all. He can track. When a horse gets loose, Billy finds it. When cattle stray into the hills or brush, Billy leads the men right to them. He kneels in the dirt, looks at the ground, and somehow knows which way to go. He can read broken grass, light hoof marks, small stones pushed aside. To most men, the ground is just dirt. To Billy, the ground is a story. This skill does not go unnoticed. In the Wild West, tracking is power. One day, a local lawman asks for help. A horse is stolen. The rider is gone. No one knows where. Billy agrees to help. He follows the trail across dry land and rocky cuts. He sees signs others cannot see. A bent bush, a deeper print where a horse slipped, a bit of cloth on a thorn. Step by step, he brings the lawman closer to the thief. At last, they find him. A tired man, a tired horse. Nowhere else to run. The lawman is impressed. This quiet young cowboy has just done what many older men could not. After that day, word begins to spread. There is a young rider who can track like a Comanche and shoot like a soldier. Lawmen hear the talk. Sheriffs remember his name. Soon, Billy is called again and again to help with chases, searches, and long, dusty rides after trouble. He is not wearing a badge yet, but he is already walking beside it in small frontier towns. The line between cowboy and lawman is thin. One day, a sheriff in need of help makes him an offer. He needs a deputy, someone who can ride hard, stand firm, and find men who do not want to be found. Billy listens. Inside him, two voices speak. One voice remembers his father on the floor. It says, "You are not meant for the law." The other voice remembers long, dark nights alone, running from his past. It says, "Maybe this is your chance. Maybe this badge can change who you are." The sheriff holds out the brass star. Billy Stiles reaches out and takes it. The metal is cool and heavy in his hand. When the sheriff pins it on his chest, the room feels different. His life feels different. The runaway boy, the drifter, the secret killer, is now Deputy Billy Stiles. At first, the badge feels strange. Billy is used to being the one who leaves town when things get tense. Now he is the one who stays. He walks the streets with slow, steady steps. People look at him in a new way. Some nod with respect. Some stare with doubt. A few smile too quickly, as if they are trying to test him. Inside, Billy is not at peace. He wants to be the man the badge says he is. But he cannot forget what he has done. He cannot forget that young boy with the gun in his shaking hands. Sometimes at night, when the town is quiet and the only sound is the creak of a sign in the wind, Billy stands alone, fingers touching the badge on his chest. He asks himself a hard question. Can a man like me really be the law? No answer comes. Only the dry wind moves in the dark. But on the outside, Billy does his job. He rides with posses. He breaks up fights in saloons. He pulls drunk cowboys out of the street before their anger turns to blood. He follows trails of stolen horses and cattle. He brings men back in chains, or with their hands up, faces full of dust and fear. Each time he brings someone in, people trust him a little more. They say, Deputy Stiles is a good man to have on your side. Slowly, his name grows. The runaway boy is now a known lawman. One day, another man arrives in his life, a man who will change everything. His name is Bert Alvord. He is big, loud, and strong. He drinks hard. He laughs hard. He walks like he owns the street. Bert is already a deputy. He wears his badge with swagger, and people step aside when he comes through a door. At first glance, he and Billy are opposites. Bert is noise. Billy is quiet. Bert likes to talk. Billy likes to watch. But under the surface, they share something, a hunger to be more than just poor men in a hard land. The two men start working together. They track riders. They guard prisoners. They share long rides at night, talking under the stars. Bert tells wild stories of saloons, fights, and easy money. Billy listens. He feels drawn to this powerful, fearless man, a man who seems bigger than the small towns they serve. Bert begins to trust Billy's cool head and sharp eyes. Billy begins to trust Bert's bold heart and strong hands. They are not just partners now. They are becoming friends. Two deputies, riding side by side, keeping order in a rough land. But soon, very soon, they will discover something dangerous. A badge can hide a dark heart, and two men with badges can plan things that no one would ever suspect. The boy with a badge is still searching for who he is. Is he a true lawman, or is the outlaw inside him just waiting for the right partner and the right moment to step into the light? The town is called Wilcox. It is not big. A few streets, a row of wooden buildings, a church, a jail, a couple of noisy saloons. But one thing makes Wilcox important: the railroad. Long lines of iron track run past the town, and heavy trains roll through with money, mail, and goods. Inside the cars, there are strong boxes full of cash, pay for workers, and bags of gold and silver. In the dust around those tracks, men like Bert Alvord and Billy Stiles ride with badges on their shirts by day. They are deputies. They break up fights in the saloons when cowboys drink too much and swing fists, that they lock up men who pull knives or reach for guns when they lose at cards. They listen to the crying of wives who want their drunk husbands dragged home. They ride after horse thieves and bring them back in ropes or irons. They do the dirty work of the law, the work that no one thanks them for, the work that keeps other people alive. But the pay is small, very small. At night, Billy counts his coins and feels anger creeping into his chest. He risks his life every day, yet he has barely enough money for a room, a horse, and simple food. He sees the trains pass by with more money in one car than he will ever earn in 10 years. He watches rich men in clean clothes step down onto the platform, tip their hats, and walk into the hotel like they own the world. The law may bring respect, but respect does not fill a hungry stomach. Bert feels it too. He is louder about it in the back room of a saloon. After a long day, Bert slams his empty glass on the table. This town drinks more money in one night, he growls, than you and I will see in a year. Billy sits across from him, quiet as always, eyes watching, mind turning. Bert leans in. The railroad is rich. The mine owners are rich. The saloon men are rich. We're the ones who bleed. We're the ones who take bullets. For what, Billy? For a handful of coins and a pat on the back. Billy does not answer. He feels the truth in Bert's words. Bert smirks. You ever think maybe the law is just a game for men with money? They make the rules. We follow them. They stay rich. We stay poor. The words hang in the smoky air. Somewhere outside, a train whistle cries in the dark. Slowly, little changes start to happen. One night, a saloon owner quietly pushes a small envelope across the bar toward Bert. Just a little something for the men who keep the peace, he says with a smile that does not reach his eyes. Inside are a few folded bills. Bert does not say no. He takes it, shrugs, and orders another drink. Billy watches. His jaw tightens. A small wrong thing. Just a little money. Just a little favor. Nothing serious, Bert says later. We still do our jobs. We just let some things slide. That's all. We don't shut down the saloon for being open a little too late. We don't ask too many questions when the back room is busy. We look the other way. They show respect. Everybody wins. Billy's heart is not sure, but the badge on his chest stays where it is, and so the first line is crossed. Weeks turn into months. Bert and Billy ride the streets of Wilcox like any other deputies. They still chase drunks. They still arrest killers. They still stand between wild men and innocent people. But under the surface, another life is slowly forming. Bert begins to talk about new ideas when they ride alone at night. He talks about the trains. He talks about how often they pass, how much money they carry, how few guards they really have. He talks about weak spots in the route, curves where the train must slow down, lonely stretches of track far from town. Billy listens. His tracking mind cannot help but see the picture, the map of the land, the timing of the trains, the chances and the risks. He does not say yes, but he does not say no. One part of him, the part that remembers his father's blood, whispers, "Stay with the law. You owe the world for what you did." Another part of him, the part that has lived hungry and tired and angry, whispers, "This world never gave you mercy. Why should you give it mercy back?" Bert starts bringing other men around, a rough man with missing fingers, a fast rider with cold eyes, a quiet Mexican with a scar down his cheek. They are not deputies. They are not churchmen. They are the kind of men who smile when danger is near. These men laugh with Bert in dark corners, away from curious ears. They glance at Billy to see which way he leans. Bert claps him on the shoulder. "Billy's with us," he says. Billy's smart. Billy knows trails. Billy knows how to make a plan. Billy feels the weight of those words. He feels the weight of his badge. He feels the weight of his past in his mind. Two paths lie before him. Stay a poor deputy until a bullet or old age ends him, or cross over. Use everything he has learned, his sharp eyes, his quiet mind, his tracking skill, for himself. One evening, the sun is setting red over the tracks. A train passes, its wheels screaming softly on the rails. Billy and Bert sit on their horses, watching it roll by through the windows. They see men in suits, women in fine dresses, strong boxes chained to the floor. Bert speaks softly, voice like a snake in the grass. "Just look at it, Billy. Money rolling by, day after day. You and I helped keep that line safe for years. Did the railroad ever thank us? Did they ever pay us what we're worth?" Billy does not answer. His eyes follow the last car until it vanishes around a curve. In that moment, the decision is not fully made, but something inside him moves. The lawman and the outlaw inside Billy Stiles take one step closer together. Soon, very soon, the badges on their chests will cover a secret. By night, the deputies of Wilcox will become something else. Train robbers with inside knowledge and iron nerves. The desert wind blows across the empty tracks. The stage is almost set. Night comes down over Wilcox. The streets go quiet. The saloons glow with yellow light. Music and rough laughter spill into the dark. Inside one back room, away from the noise, a small group of men sit around a wooden table. At the head of the table is Bert Alvord. Beside him, a little to the side, is Billy Stiles. On the table lies a rough map of railroad tracks, hills, and lonely stretches of desert. Bert's finger moves along the lines. "Here," he says, tapping a spot. "Train has to slow for the curve. No town, no station, no help." The other men lean in. These are not churchmen. They are gunmen. They have scars, broken teeth, hard eyes. Billy watches each face. He sees greed. He sees hunger. He sees danger. He also sees his own reflection in the dirty window beside them. A young man with a badge on his chest and trouble in his eyes. Bert looks at Billy. "What do you think?" he asks. "You know the land. Can we do it?" The room goes quiet. They all know what Bert is really asking. This is not about rounding up a drunk. This is not about stopping a street fight. This is about robbing a train Billy slowly lowers his eyes to the map. He knows that stretch of track. He has ridden past it many times. He sees it in his mind. The bend, the rocky walls, the empty open sky. It's a good place, Billy says at last, his voice low. Plenty of cover, hard for a posse to reach fast. The men around the table nod with those words. Something inside Billy clicks into place. He is no longer just a deputy who listens to bad ideas. He is now a man helping to plan them. The gang begins to form around Bert and Billy. There is three-fingered Jack Dunlap, a gunman with part of his hand missing and a rough temper to match. There is Bravo, Juan, fast, quiet, deadly with a rifle. There are others, drifters, ex-cowboys, men who trust guns more than laws, by day. Bert and Billy still wear their badges. They talk to railroad men. They hear news. They learn schedules, by night. They repeat what they have heard to men with no badges at all. The law is feeding secrets to the very people it is supposed to fight. Inside, Billy feels two fires burning. One is fear. He knows the risk. If they are caught, the railroad and the law will come after them with full force. The other fire is something darker. For the first time, he sees a way to grab power, money, and control in a world that has always tried to hold him down. He thinks of his father's house, the single gunshot, the boy running into the desert with nothing. He thinks of all the years since, working for small pay, taking orders, risking his life for men richer than him. Now, a voice inside his mind whispers, "This is your chance to take something back." They plan for weeks. They choose a night when the train will carry pay, and strong boxes full of cash. They pick their positions carefully. Some will be near the tracks. Others will wait with extra horses. A few will watch the road to see if anyone is coming. Billy spends long hours alone, riding the land around the chosen spot, drawing lines in the dust with a stick, imagining every move. He thinks like a lawman, asking, if I were chasing us, what would I do? Then he uses those answers to make the outlaw plan stronger. The same brain that once hunted thieves is now working to protect them. On the evening chosen, the sky is heavy and low. Clouds gather, making the desert feel even more empty. Billy saddles his horse in silence. His badge shines faintly on his shirt. He looks at it for a long moment. He could take it off. He could throw it on the floor. He could walk away. But he doesn't. He leaves the badge where it is. He does not know why exactly. Maybe habit. Maybe pride. Maybe a cruel joke on the world. A deputy by day, a robber by night. Bert is excited, his eyes bright with a wildfire. This is it, boys, he says to the gang as they gather in the dark near the tracks. After tonight, we won't be counting pennies anymore. He claps Billy on the back. You ready? Billy nods once. His face is calm, but inside his chest, his heart is beating like hoofs on hard ground. They take their positions, melting into the rocks and brush. The desert is quiet. Only the wind and the soft shuffle of horses can be heard. Every sound feels louder than it should. Every movement feels risky. Billy lies behind a low ridge, eyes on the tracks. He can feel the weight of his gun at his side. He can feel the weight of his choices on his soul. Far away, a faint whistle cries. The sound grows. The iron beast is coming. Billy sees the small light in the distance, moving toward them like a single glowing eye. Behind that light are cars filled with people, jewelry, gold, payroll, and the promise of a better life for the men hiding in the dark. Behind that light is also danger, guns, and the chance of death. The train draws closer. The ground begins to tremble. Bert raises his hand, signals the men. They grip their rifles. They hold their breath. Billy feels time slowed down. In this moment, he is not a boy who rode away. He is not a deputy standing in a dusty street. He is something new. A man standing directly on the thin line between law and crime, about to step over it with both feet. The train's light sweeps past the rocks where he hides. The air fills with steam and metal noise. Bert gives the final motion. The ambush begins. The train rushes through the dark. Steam hisses. Metal wheels scream softly on the rails. Inside, lamps swing with the motion. Passengers rest, read, or doze in their seats. They do not know that danger is waiting ahead. In the black silence, near a curve in the tracks, men hide behind rocks and low bushes, guns ready, nerves tight, breath held. Among them is Billy Stiles. His heart beats hard, but his face is calm. He watches the beam of the train's light get bigger and brighter. This is the moment he has helped plan. This is the line he cannot uncross. The train comes closer. Bert Alvord raises his arm in the dark. The gang gets ready. Hoofbeats move quietly nearby. Extra horses wait in the shadows for a fast escape. Billy feels the air shake as the engine roars past. The ground trembles. Hot steam blows out with a sharp hiss. Then the signal comes. A log placed on the track, a warning shot, a man waving a lantern. The engineer sees the danger, pulls the brake. The great machine cries as it slows, grinding, shuddering, finally coming to a stop in the middle of nowhere. Then the quiet breaks. Men burst from the darkness, yelling, guns drawn, hands up. Nobody move. The passengers scream. Some duck low. Some freeze in their seats. A guard reaches for his weapon. A warning shot cracks the air. Don't be stupid, someone shouts. Do as you're told, and nobody dies. The words are rough, but there is a cold logic in them. Billy moves fast and focused. He is not shouting. He is not wild. He is calm, like a man doing a difficult job he has done many times. He watches the others. Watches the doors, watches the windows. Always alert for a sudden move. The gang pushes forward, toward the express car. That is where the money is. Inside are strong boxes, heavy and locked, full of cash, paper, and maybe gold. Bert and another man climb onto the car. They yell for the guard to open up when he refuses. They set a charge of dynamite. Billy steps back, grabbing a passenger and pulling him down before the blast. The night explodes in flame and sound with splinters. Metal twists. Smoke fills the air. When the dust clears, the locked strongbox is broken. Bundles of bills spill out. Coins scatter like hard rain on the floor. The gang moves like hungry animals. They grab what they can, shoving cash into sacks and bags. In that moment, Billy feels a strange rush inside him. Fear, yes, but also something else. A sharp, powerful feeling of control. For once, he is not the poor deputy counting small coins. He is the man taking the money. He tells himself it is only fair. These railroads are rich, he thinks. They never cared if we lived or died for their tracks. Now, the balance feels different. But even in the rush, Billy does not lose his focus. He keeps looking around, checking the men, watching the passengers. One wrong move, one brave fool trying to be a hero. One shot, and this robbery could turn into a bloody mess. He sees a man slowly lowering his hand toward a pistol. Without a word, Billy steps closer, aims his own gun, and gives a cold stare. The man freezes. His hand stops. He raises it again. Empty. No bullet is needed. Not this time. When the sacks are full, Bert shouts the order. Mount up. Let's ride. The men run back to their horses, jump into the saddles. Billy is one of the last to leave. He backs away slowly, gun still ready, eyes never turning from the train, until he is sure no one is going to do something. Foolish. Then he swings into his saddle and digs his heels into the horse's sides. The animal surges forward. Hoofbeats pound the ground. The gang rides away into the night, sacks of stolen money bouncing against their legs. Behind them, the train is left behind in smoke and confusion, its passengers shaken, its crew angry and afraid. Hours later, in a hidden spot among low hills, the gang gathers around their loot. They open the sacks and pour out the money. Stacks of bills, glinting coins, more than a deputy's pay for many, many years. Bert laughs loud and hard. Look at it, he shouts. This is what they kept from us. This is what they thought we'd never touch. Some men whoop and cheer. Others grin silently, eyes shining in the dim light. Billy does not laugh. He stares at the money, then at the faces around him. These are not lawmen. These are not good men. But tonight, he is one of them. The badge on his chest feels heavier than ever. In the glow of the small campfire, it almost seems to burn. When the loot is divided, Billy rides back to Wartown before dawn. By the time the sun rises, he is once again Deputy Billy Stiles. People in Wilcox wake up to rumors of a big train robbery some miles away. They shake their heads. Some curse the outlaws. Some secretly cheer them in their hearts. Soon, lawmen begin to ask questions. Posse riders go out, following broken tracks, dust, and rumor. And there stands Billy, wearing his badge, listening to the railroad men describe the robbery he has just helped plan. He nods, asks serious questions, acts like a deputy doing his duty. Inside, he feels hollow. He is lying to everyone. He is both hunter and prey in the same skin. Bert slaps him on the back when no one is watching. See? Perfect, he says. We're on both sides. We know what the law knows. We stay one step ahead. Billy forces a small smile, but inside, a quiet fear begins to grow. How long can a man live like this? How long can he serve the law by day and break it by night without something cracking? For now, the gang is rich, their plan has worked, and their names are still a secret. But with every robbery, every stolen dollar, every lie told in the sheriff's office, the trap wire of fate pulls a little tighter around Billy Stiles. The law does not like to be fooled, and soon, very soon, the law will begin to look closer at the quiet deputy with the sharp eyes and the dangerous friends. Morning light falls over Wilcox. The town looks the same as always. Dust on the street, smoke rising from chimneys, people moving in slow lines to work, to the store, to the saloon. But under the calm surface, there is a new tension in the air. A train has been robbed. Not just any train, a big one, with serious money on board. Railroad men are angry. Newspapers shout the news. Travelers mutter fearful words. The word outlaws hangs over the town like a dark cloud. And inside this same town, walking in his deputy's coat, is Billy Stiles, one of the very men who did it. Billy stands in the small sheriff's office, listening to a railroad agent speak. The agent's face is red with anger. These bandits knew what they were doing. The man snaps. They stopped the train in the perfect place. They knew when the payroll was on board. They knew how many guards we had. Billy keeps his face calm. He nods slowly, as if hearing something new. Inside, his stomach tightens. Yes, the robbers did know, because the robbers were listening to men like this agent just days before, asking quiet questions with lawman voices. Now, those same robbers are pretending to help solve the crime. The sheriff turns to Billy. Think it's that same gang folks have been whispering about? Billy answers in a slow, steady voice. Could be. They're careful. They pick their spot. They know the land. Every word he says could be about himself, but no one in the room knows that truth yet. The Alvord Stiles gang does not stop after one success. A taste of money is like a strong drink. It burns at first, then it warms, then it demands more. Bert is hungry now. He plans new robberies. He talks bigger. He laughs louder. We've broken the first lock, he tells his men. The rest are easier. Billy is quieter. He helps plan. He rides out. He takes his share. But every time he puts on his badge in the morning, he feels less like a deputy and more like a man playing a dangerous game with his own life. Rumors spread out on the ranches. Around campfires, men talk. There's a smart gang working these tracks, they say. Feels like they know the law's moves before the law even makes them. In town, some people start to whisper that the outlaws might have friends in high places. Maybe a telegraph man, maybe a railroad worker, maybe a lawman. No one says names. Not yet, but suspicion is a seed that once planted, it grows. One evening, Billy sits at a small table in the room he rents. The door is closed. A single lamp burns low. In front of him is his share of the money from the robberies. He counts it slowly. It is more than he has ever had in his life. He could leave Wilcox, leave Arizona, start fresh in some far-off place where no one knows about his father, about the trains, about the badge. He could vanish like dust in a high wind, but he doesn't. Why? Maybe because Bert is still here. Maybe because the West is all he knows. Maybe because, deep down, he believes he can outsmart everyone. He puts the money away, turns down the lamp, and lies awake in the dark, listening to his own fear beating inside his chest. More time passes. Another train is hit, then another attempt. Not every job goes as smoothly as the first dot. Sometimes the guards fight back. Sometimes the timing is off. Sometimes a man drinks too much, talks too loud in a saloon, and sharp ears pick up a dangerous piece of truth. The railroad grows more serious, more armed guards, more detectives, more pressure on the local lawmen to deliver results. The sheriff feels the heat. He pushes his deputies harder to find the guilty men. That means he pushes Billy harder. Use your tracking skills, he says. Talk to people. Find out who's out there. Billy rides out with posses, following tracks he already knows, pretending to be surprised by things he remembers clearly from the night of the robbery. He feels like a man chasing his own shadow. Then comes the day when the shadow turns around and chases him back. One night, Bert and Billy's luck breaks. A plan goes wrong. A job is rushed. A witness sees too much. A drunk outlaw brags too loud. Pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place for the other side. Soon, men are saying the words no outlaw ever wants to hear. We know who did it, in a quiet, tense move. Lawmen come to take Billy in. They know he works with Bert. They know he has been in the right places at the wrong times. They don't know everything, but they know enough. Billy is stripped of his gun. The badge on his chest is no longer a shield. It is just a small piece of metal on a man in chains in the jail cell. Billy finally has to sit still. No horse to ride. No plan to make. No night to hide in. Just four walls, a hard bed, and the memory of every choice he has made since the day he rode away from his father's house. Outside, a trial begins to form. Witnesses are called. Among them is someone who cuts deeper than any stranger's words, his wife. She speaks against him. Maybe she is afraid. Maybe she is angry. Maybe she believes that telling the truth is the only way to save herself. Billy hears that the woman who shared his home, his life, his secrets, is now helping the law build a case against him. Betrayal hits him like a fist in the gut. He stares at the wall of his cell. His hands curl into tight fists. The law wants him locked up. The railroad wants him punished. His wife speaks against him. Outside that cell, the world is closing its hand around Billy Stiles. One thing stands between him and a long prison term, or even a hangman's rope. Bert Alvord and the wild part of Billy's own soul that refuses to accept a cage. The man who once rode away from one crime is about to ask himself if he is willing to ride away again, this time from the very heart of the law itself. The walls are closing in, but Billy Stiles is not finished yet. The jail is cold, thick stone walls, iron bars, heavy doors that close with a hard, final sound. Inside one of those small cells, Billy Stiles sits on a narrow bunk. He is no longer the sharp deputy of Wilcox, riding free across the desert. He is a prisoner now, just another man in chains, waiting to hear what the judge will say, what the jury will decide, what fate has been written for him. Outside, people talk about him. Some say, he fooled us. He wore a badge and robbed trains. Others say, he's just another outlaw. Let him hang. In this small cell, Billy hears only footsteps, keys, and the echo of his own thoughts. He thinks of his wife's voice speaking against him in court. He thinks of Bert Alvord, still out there somewhere, free, drinking, planning, smiling that big rough smile. Most men, when the walls start to close, give up. They wait, they hope, or they break inside. Billy Stiles is not most men. Deep in his mind, a plan begins to grow. It starts as a small idea, quiet and dangerous. I will not let them lock me away. Not again. Not ever. Time moves slowly in jail. Days feel like weeks. Weeks feel like months. But news still finds its way in. Billy hears names through bars and whispers. He hears that Bert is still running free, still stirring up trouble, still bragging that the law can't hold him. Some guards still remember Billy as a deputy. They talk to him like a man they once trusted. They do not look at him the way they look at other prisoners. They see chains on his hands, but they still half see the badge he used to wear. That half-trust is a crack in the wall. Billy feels for it, tests it, uses it. He is polite. He is calm. He does not shout. He does not start fights. He waits. The day he needs comes quiet and simple. The jail in Tombstone is busy. There are many prisoners now, drunks, thieves, fighters, men caught in brawls, men caught in lies. The deputy on duty is tired. He knows Billy. He remembers riding with him once. He does not see a clever outlaw planning his escape. He sees an old fellow lawman who went the wrong way but still seems sensible. Billy moves carefully. He watches the routine. He notes where the keys hang. He notes where the guns rest. He notes when the deputy looks away. Every small detail goes into his quiet mind. Later, when the time feels right, Billy makes his move. It is fast, so fast that later, men will argue about how he did it. Some will say he smuggled in a gun. Some will say he grabbed one quick from a desk. What matters is simple. Suddenly, Billy Stiles has a gun in his hand again. He steps forward, eyes sharp, arms steady. The deputy on duty turns too late. A shot explodes in a small room. The bullet tears into the deputy's foot. He falls with a cry, dropping his keys. The sound echoes off stone and iron. For a moment, the whole jail freezes. Then everything happens at once. Billy snatches up the keys. His mind is clear. No time for fear now. He runs to the cells. Metal rattles and clangs as he shoves keys into locks. On your feet, he shouts. Doors are open. Move. Prisoners stare at him, shocked. Some think it's a trick. Others do not wait to find out. One by one, doors swing open. Men step out, rough men, angry men. Men who thought they would see the inside of these walls for many long years. Now, a former deputy is tearing those walls apart with his bare hands and stolen keys. It is madness. It is freedom. It is both. Billy does not open just his own cell or Bert's cell. He opens almost every door. Soon, the jailhouse fills with movement, shouts, and running feet. Prisoners pour down the hole. Some grabbing what they can. Some still have faces white with shock. The wounded deputy crawls back, trying to reach another gun, trying to pull himself to safety. Billy points the weapon at him. For a second, old memories flash: his father, the gun, the body on the floor. But he does not fire again. That's enough, he says sharply. Stay down. There is no mercy in his voice, but there is no extra cruelty either. He did what he came to do. Now he will not waste time with more blood. Outside, some men run one way, some run another. The streets of Tombstone explode with chaos. People shout, doors slam, horses rear as sudden crowds rush past. Billy moves with purpose. He is not running blindly. He is looking for one man. He finds Bert Alvord among the freed prisoners. Eyes bright, face split in a wild grin. Billy. Bert laughs. I knew you wouldn't let them keep you. They move quickly together, shoving through the mess, half pulled by the tide of fleeing men. Some say that day, around 25, prisoners burst out of the Tombstone jail to the law. It feels like the whole underworld just got set loose by one man's hand. Horses wait where they planned. Billy swings into the saddle like the young runaway he once was. The boy who fled his father's house. Bert mounts up beside him. Behind them, bells ring, guns, fire, voices yell, orders. But by the time a real posse can form, Billy Stiles, Bert Alvord, and a trail of desperate men are already disappearing into the wild land beyond the town. Dust rises behind them and hangs in the air like a ghost of all the rules they just broke. That jailbreak does something important, something that cannot be undone. Before, the world could still pretend. It could say, maybe Billy is confused. Maybe he will come back to the right side. After this day, there is no more pretending. This is not a deputy who made a small mistake. This is a man who walked into a jail with a gun, shot a lawman, and ripped open iron doors for almost every prisoner inside. Billy Stiles is now a symbol of open defiance. To some, He is a legend, the man who beat the jail. To others, he is the worst kind of traitor, a lawman turned enemy. There is no easy road back from a choice like that. From this point on, Billy Stiles lives fully on the outlaw side of the line. The law will hunt him like it hunts a wolf that tasted blood near the ranch and in the shadows of the borderlands. With Bert at his side, Billy will try to live as if a whole territory is not sharpening its knives with his name on them. The jailbreak in Tombstone changes everything. One day, Billy Stiles is a prisoner behind thick stone walls. The next day, he is a ghost in the desert, a wanted man with a price on his head. Posters with his face go up, newspapers shout his name: train robber, traitor, deputy, dangerous outlaw. Billy has been all of those things. Now he is something more, a man who has publicly humiliated the law. The territory of Arizona will not forget that. Billy and Bert Alvord move constantly. They sleep in canyons, in brush, in old shacks half fallen to the wind. Sometimes they stay with friends who still owe them favors. Sometimes they hide in small villages where people do not ask hard questions, as long as you pay for food and cause no trouble. But trouble follows them anyway. When a posse gets close, they shift again, like coyotes moving just out of rifle range. Billy's tracking skills, once used to hunt men, now help him stay ahead of the men hunting him. He reads hoof marks in reverse now. Like a mirror of his old life, the gang is not what it used to be. Some men are dead, some are captured, some have run off with their share, too scared to keep living as targets. But there are still jobs, still trains to hit, still money rolling on iron wheels through a land of dust and hunger. One of the darkest days comes near a place called Fairbank. The gang sets their eyes on another train, thinking it will be like the others, a fast, hard strike, in and out with money and fear left behind on the tracks. But this time, there is a man on board who refuses to break. His name is Jeff Milton. He is an old-style lawman, hard as iron, quiet as stone. When the gang moves on the train, Jeff fights back. Gunfire explodes in the night. Bullets tear through wood and flesh. Three-fingered Jack, with his missing fingers and sharp temper, falls in a shower of lead. Others are hit. Plans fall apart. Billy sees that the age of easy robberies is ending. The law is learning. The guards are ready to die rather than lie down. The West is changing, and not in his favor. Word of the failed robbery and the dead outlaw spreads fast. Now, when people say the Alvord Stiles gang, their voices are lower. Some speak with fear, some with excitement. But the lawmen speak with a cold promise. We are going to finish them. Rewards grow higher. Posse riders grow more serious. It is no longer a game of catch 'em if you can. It is a hunt. Billy feels the circle tighten every time he hears hooves in the distance, or sees dust on the horizon that is not made by his own horse. As things grow hotter in Arizona, one word starts to sound sweeter than all the stolen money in the world: Mexico. Across the border. The laws are different. The posses cannot ride as far or as easily. There are ranches, small towns, and rough men who do not ask too many questions if you pay in silver and keep your mouth shut. Bert and Billy slip south, moving over the line like shadows. For a time, they vanish from the streets of Arizona and become rumors. You know they're down there, men say, nodding south, hiding, drinking, laughing at us, in the dusty cantinas of Mexico. That is exactly what they do. But even south of the border, Billy cannot relax that night. In rented rooms and dark corners, his thoughts are not at peace. He thinks of the boy who shot his father, the deputy who wore the badge, the outlaw who robbed trains, the prisoner who opened every cell. 4 lives, 1 man. He wonders if there is still any road left back toward the light, or is he now too far into the dark to ever turn around? Bert drinks hard, talks big, and makes new plans. Arizona can't touch us here, he tells Billy with a grin. We're ghosts to them now. But Billy is not so sure. He knows the law, he knows pride, and he knows this: a territory that has been shamed does not forget. Up north, the answer to men like Billy Stiles is already taking shape. A new force has been created: tough riders with a clear mission. The Arizona Rangers. These are not ordinary deputies. They are picked men, skilled with guns, good with horses, paid to track, paid to fight, paid to finish the job, to them. Billy and Bert are not legends. They are targets. They begin to look for them not just in Arizona, but beyond the border. The safe distance of Mexico is not as safe as it used to be. Billy hears talk of these new rangers, in smoky cantinas, in quiet voices. Men say, they'll come down here. You watch, they won't stop at the line. He feels something twist inside. Once, he might have been one of them, a sharp-hide rider with a clean badge, sent to hunt down men like himself. Now, he is on the other side of the gun. As days and weeks turn into months, life in hiding wears on Billy. The money spends fast. The drinks numb him, but only for a short time. In the early mornings, when the world is gray and quiet, he sometimes walks alone outside the small towns, looking at the hills, the sky, the thin trail of smoke from faraway homes. He wonders if he could ever live a simple life, a small farm, a quiet cabin, a family that does not have to whisper his name. But every time he reaches for that dream, he feels the weight of everything he has done dragging it down. The law might forgive some men, it might forget others, but a man who robbed trains, shot at deputies, and tore open a jail, that man is not easy to forgive. Still, a strange thought begins to grow inside him. What if the only way to live is to stop running? What if, instead of fighting the law forever, he could somehow work with it again? It is a crazy idea, maybe impossible, but in the shadows, as posses and rangers draw closer, that idea slowly becomes his last, thin hope. He does not know it yet, but soon he will be sitting across from Arizona's toughest lawman, making a deal that will change his life one more time. The outlaw who hid in Mexico is about to walk back toward the badge, not as a simple deputy, and not as a simple thief, but as something in between. And in that space, between outlaw and lawman, Billy Stiles will once again try to rewrite his own story. Mexico is hot and dusty. Small towns, low houses of mud and stone, church bells, cantinas full of smoke and card games. In one of those towns, in a dim corner of a noisy room, Billy Stiles sits at a table with a drink in his hand. He looks like any other tired man running from something. But outside this room, his name still rides on the wind, across Arizona, across the border, across the minds of lawmen and outlaws alike. He is not forgotten. Back in Arizona, a new kind of lawman has been born. They are called the Arizona Rangers. They are few, but they are tough. They ride hard. They follow trails for days without stopping. They do not scare easily. Their job is simple: hunt down the worst. Troublemakers in the territory, and near the top of their list are two names: Bert, Billy Stiles. The man in charge of the Rangers is Captain Burton C. Mossman. He is known as clever and cold. He believes in using his head as much as his gun. When he looks at the long, ugly list of crimes in Arizona, one name stands out: Augustine Chacon, a famous Mexican bandit, a killer, a man who slips back and forth across the border like smoke through a fence. Farmers fear him. Sheriffs curse his name. Mossman decides that bringing in Shochan will send a strong message. The Rangers are here. Things are going to change. But to catch Shochan, he needs a special kind of bait, someone the bandit will trust, someone who already lives between law and outlaw, someone like Billy Stiles. Whispers move through the border towns. A ranger captain wants to talk. He wants to make a deal. Those whispers reach Billy. At first, he does not believe them. Why would the law want to speak with him? Then he realizes the answer: because they cannot catch men like Shochan without help from men like him. One night, in a quiet place, away from the noise, Billy and Mossman finally meet. The captain sits straight, eyes sharp, face calm. Billy sits across from him, hands steady, mind racing. Between them lies more than a table. There is a whole desert of blood, lies, and broken laws. Mossman speaks first. You know this land, he says. You know the men who ride it. You know Chacon. Billy doesn't argue. He does know. He has heard Chacon's name for years. He knows what villages the bandit likes, what kind of men he rides with, what kind of deals he takes. Mossman leans in. Help me bring him in, he says simply. Lead him into a trap. Do that, and we can talk about your situation. He does not promise full forgiveness. He does not promise a clean slate, but he offers something Billy has not had in a long time, a chance. Inside Billy, there is a fight. One part of him hates the idea of helping the law that wants to hang him. Another part of him knows he cannot run forever. Maybe this is the only door that is still open. Slowly, Billy nods. "All right," he says. "I'll help you." The outlaw and the ranger captain shake hands. It is not a friendly handshake. It is a hard, tense deal made between two men who do not fully trust each other, but need each other for a little while. The plan is dangerous. Billy will go to Chakin as if he wants to make a deal. He will speak as an outlaw, not as a helper of the Rangers. He will draw Chakin to a place chosen by Mossman, then the Rangers will close in. Billy knows that if Chakin smells even a hint of betrayal, he will die quickly and ugly. The risk is huge, but the reward might be a second life. Days later, Billy rides out to find Shay Khan. He uses old contacts, old hiding places, old names that at last, in a rough camp in the hills, he sees the bandit chief, dark eyes, hard jaw, gun always close. Billy talks carefully. "There is money to be made," he says. "There is a job. There is a chance worth taking." Shokan listens, studies him, searches his face for lies. But Billy has lived his whole life between truth and lies. His voice is steady. His eyes do not shake. In the end, Chacon agrees. He will come. He will meet. The trap is set on the chosen day, at the chosen place. The game plays out. Billy brings Chakin to where Mossman waits. What begins as a meeting ends in guns, shouts, and ire. The Rangers strike hard and fast. When the dust settles, Augustine Shokan is in chains. Soon after, he will be taken back to Arizona to trial, and finally to the noose. For many people in the territory, it is a great victory. For Billy Stiles, it is something else. A strange, twisted step back toward the law as part of the deal. Billy is allowed to surrender himself properly. For a short time, he even serves with the Arizona Rangers, not as a full, proud member, but as a scout, a man who knows trails, who can read bad men's hearts because he carries the same darkness. It is a strange season, Billy. The train robber now rides with lawmen to hunt other outlaws. He knows they do not fully trust him. He feels their eyes on his back when they ride. They know his past. They know his jailbreak. Some want him gone. Some would not cry if he caught a bullet in a fight. Still, he does his work. For a little while, the badge is near him again, this time a ranger badge. Cold and distant, never fully his. But a man like Billy does not stay in one place for long. Old habits, old friends, old shadows pull at him. He drifts away from the Rangers, back toward Bert Alvord, back toward the border, back toward the thin line where law ends and wild country begins. In Mexico again, Bert and Billy make one more desperate move. They fake their deaths. 2 bodies, 2 coffins, 2 stories sent north. Alvord and Stiles are dead. The hope is simple. The law will stop looking if it believes the chase is over. For a brief moment. It almost works. But when the coffins are opened and the bodies are studied, Arizona sees the lie. Those are not the famous outlaws. The hoax fails now. The law is not just angry, it feels mocked. The Arizona. Rangers ride south once more. They track Bert and Billy to a ranch near the line. Gunfire cracks in the hot air. Both men are hit. Dust, blood, shouts in 2 languages. When it is over, Bert Alvord is a prisoner. Billy Stiles, wounded but not broken, slips away again, a ghost fading into brush and hills. This time, he does not stay near Arizona. He goes farther, farther than Mexico, farther than the borderlands. Some say he sails west, to China, to the Philippines, chasing a life where no one knows his face or his long, twisted story. The outlaw of Arizona becomes a stranger in foreign ports, a single man in a crowd that does not speak his name, but the West is not done with him yet. One day, Billy Stiles will come back to the United States and he will wear a badge one last time, far from Arizona, far from dusty towns and broken jails. A ship moves over dark water. On that ship stands a man with tired eyes and a past that will not let him go. His name is Billy Stiles, though he does not always use that name now. Some say he goes to China, some say the Philippines. What matters is this: he goes as far as he can from the deserts where his story began, in crowded foreign streets. No one knows him, no one points and whispers, "Train robber." No one mutters, "Deputy turned outlaw." He is just another stranger in a coat dusted with travel, another face in a busy market, another man passing under strange signs and listening to words he cannot understand. For the first time in his life, Billy feels what it's like to walk through a town without his name riding ahead of him. No badge, no wanted poster, no posse, only the sound of waves, ship bells, and languages that wash over him like the sea itself. And yet, peace does not sit easy in his mind. He lies awake at night in cheap rooms near the docks, staring at the ceiling, listening to distant music and shouting in the darkness. The old pictures come back. The small house in Arizona, his father on the floor, the train's bright lamp in the night, the jail door flying open, men running free, Bert laughing in the saddle no matter how far he sails. Billy Stiles cannot leave himself behind. A man can change his name, he can change his country, but his memories walk beside him everywhere. After some time, months, maybe years, the pull of the West becomes too strong. The heat of the desert, the creak of leather in the saddle, the dry smell of dust and sage. These things are part of him. And so, like a circle closing, Billy heads back to the country that once hunted him, but he does not return to Arizona. He is not foolish. Instead, he goes north to a different land, a place of mines and wide open ranges. Nevada. In Nevada. He does not introduce himself as Billy Stiles the outlaw. He uses another name he has carried, William Larkin. It is not a lie, but it hides the parts of his story that could get him killed. The towns there are full of miners and ranchers, people thinking more about silver and cattle than about old outlaws. From Arizona. To them, he is just a wiry, quiet man who knows how to ride, how to shoot, and how to follow a trail better than most. And in the way of the West, someone eventually asked a question that always seems to find him ever thought. About wearing a badge. It almost sounds like a joke from fate. After everything, the train robberies, the jails, the escapes, the world is handing him a badge again. This time, it is in Humboldt County, Nevada. He becomes a deputy sheriff there, riding out on cold mornings, serving papers, breaking up fights, keeping watch over a rough land filled with hard men and lonely ranches. To the people who meet him now, he is Deputy William Larkin, a lawman doing his job. They do not see the outlaw hiding inside. His shadow. In this new role, Billy tries to live steady. He follows the law. He does the work. He stays mostly quiet. Maybe he believes that if he wears the badge long enough and does enough right, it will somehow cover all the wrong. He rides alone a lot, out across empty fields and hills. There is plenty of time to think. He thinks about Bert Alvord locked up or drifting, his wild laughter echoing in memory. He thinks about the men he freed from the Tombstone jail. He thinks about Shokon and the deal with the Rangers. He wonders if the West keeps a secret list somewhere, a list of debts, a list of sins, a list of chances used up, if such a list exists. His name is surely written many times over. Then comes the day when all the paths of his life lead to one quiet ranch and a barn door in the middle of nowhere. The story is simple on the surface. A legal matter, a dispute, papers to serve, a man to talk to. Deputy William Larkin rides out from town to do his duty. He does not know this ride will be his last. The ranch is still. Wind moves slowly through the grass. A few animals stand in the distance, heads down. Billy dismounts, boots hitting the dirt. He walks toward a barn or outbuilding, a simple wooden structure. Like 100 others he has seen, he may call out his name. He may announce that he is from the sheriff's office. What happens next is quick and final. From inside, from cover, from fear or anger or both, a man fires. Some say it is the rancher himself. Some say a frightened young son pulls the shotgun trigger. What we know is this: shots slam into Billy's body. 1, 2. More of the force of them throws him back. He falls into the dirt of a land he was trying, for once, to keep in order. The world goes small. The sky above him is wide and distant. The air smells of earth and dry plants. He may think of nothing, or he may think of everything at once. His father, the first gunshot, the horse he rode away on, the trains, the badges, the jails, the farces, the faces of men he hunted and men who hunted him. If there are words in his mind, they are for him alone. There, in the dust, far from Arizona and far from the boy he once was, Billy Stiles dies as a deputy, not as a train robber, not as a jailbreaker, as Deputy William Larkin Stiles, killed in the line of duty on a lonely Nevada ranch. Years later, his name appears on lists of fallen officers, honored as a lawman who died doing his job. But old stories in the desert still tell the other side, that he was also an outlaw, a man who robbed trains, freed prisoners, and tried more than once to cheat the law itself. So who was he really? A villain who wore a badge? A broken kid who never found peace? A man who kept trying to step back into the light even after his hands were stained? Maybe Billy Stiles is not meant to fit in a simple box. Maybe he is proof that in the Wild West, a man could be both things at once: law and outlaw, hunter and hunted, sinner and, in the end, a kind of servant of justice. For the voice that tells this story, there is one last thought to leave hanging in the air. In a world as wild as the Old West, the line between good and bad was not a fence. It was a shadow, and men like Billy Stiles walked right on top of that shadow their whole lives until the day it finally swallowed them.